How's it going, guys? A lot has happened since I last did a vlog on this cart. And by a lot, I mean an absolutely unimaginable amount of things. And I'm not talking about stuff I've done to the cart. I'm talking about where this cart has been, what has happened regarding it, and stuff that was unimaginable to me happened. So forgive me if this is a bit more of a story time than a technical overview of the cart. There'll be a couple updates. There's a couple things that have changed with it, so don't worry. But I think what's more pressing right now is just the story behind this. And yes, I'm using a flashlight because it's at night and it's in my garage now, as you can see. And you'll probably understand why it's in my garage after I tell you the story. So this go-kart, what was it? Less than a month ago, I found this go-kart. I don't know how to even start with this story, I guess. But I found my beloved go-kart at the bottom of a ravine in a ditch because it had been stolen a week prior by, well, it doesn't matter by who, but figured out who it was and got somebody who had information, to essentially tip me off where it was. I went and looked for it and found it. So it's back. It's kind of a small miracle that it's back at all. And I'm very blessed to have it back. It has a lot of sentimental value. It does not have a whole lot of monetary value. It really doesn't. There's no reason for anyone to steal one of these things. If anybody's looking to steal one of these, they go from like $500 to $1,000, depending on condition. And this one isn't in perfect condition, so it'd probably be under $1,000. There's no point to steal it. And some of it was my own negligence. I'm not going to say it wasn't somewhat my fault. It was, but where to start? So where I keep it in that yard that you've probably seen me filming before, I usually keep it chained up out there to an old windmill that's now defunct. And I have, the landowner's blessing to do that. Also have his blessing to ride it around there. Really fortunate for that as well. And so there's a airport nearby. I don't know. I think you may have seen it in some of my videos. I'm good friends with the people there as well. And I sometimes ride it on that property. Sometimes I, go hang out with some of the line crew there and people who work there and people who fly out of there. They like the cart. They're always interested to see how it's progressing and yada yada. It's kind of a long, sappy story. But the point is, I'm around this airport quite a bit, and I know everyone there. So I let my guard down, and I put it out there one night because I was going to wake up first thing at dark 30 in the morning to come in and actually change the oil on this. It was due for a change. Day before, I had just put in some final gear oil. Sorry, my flashlight's stupid. Put some final gear oil in the transmission the day before. I had it there already. I didn't want to ride it back to the place where I chain it up. And, it's a small town where I'm at. And I was like, there's no way, in one night. Because I'm talking like, I think I let it out on my site at, 7 p.m. And I was going to be back up there around 6 a.m. So I was like, of course nobody's going to be rolling by the airport looking for something to steal. And, I did do some due diligence. I put my wheel lock on. I locked the front wheels in the side position and I called it good. I was like, that'd be convenient. All the oil will drop to the bottom of the pan by the morning and I'll drain it out and it'll be all nice, whatever. Well, I came in next morning, break of dawn, and went to where I left it, and it was not there. I was like, huh? Well, maybe it was in the way or something, and one of the guys moved it. So I, started asking around, hey, seen my go-kart, and was it in the way? Did you guys have to move it? And they were all shocked, and they're like, no, not at all. You left it there last night, right? And I was like, yeah. They're like, no, I don't think anyone had to move it. Let me check, with management, yada, yada. So I went up the chain of command for a while. Few hours, and they finally figured out that nobody knew where it was. So I was like, well, shit. there was cameras all around there. There was cameras on the area where it was. So I said, well, let me go and take a look, see if I can, see it on cameras. Maybe someone moved it, or, I obviously at that point was thinking maybe worse, someone stole it. So I went on the cameras, I looked, sure enough, saw some, I won't get into too many details, but I saw some sketchy looking activity around it for a while. Somebody looked like they were scouting it out to begin with, and then it looked like a truck came later, flatbed, picked it up, took it, put the front end here that was all cockeyed because I had the lock on, put it on the flatbed of the truck, and drove off with the rear wheels dragging. So immediately put in a police report, yada yada. Talked to the police, showed them the footage, got all the evidence squared away. This thing actually does have a VIN. There's a few locations where it's printed. Back here's one. And so I gave him the VIN, gave him the deed of sale, and yada yada. And couldn't believe it, was in disbelief that day. Just thought that, I lived in a small enough town and with good enough people that wouldn't happen, but it did. And I just never could have imagined something of so little monetary value, but so much, so much value to me personally, personal value, that it would just be gone. And somebody would take that when there's a million other things they could have taken at that kind of airport. There's so many more expensive things, cars, airplane parts, yada yada. But they chose my card, so it was easy. It was accessible, understandable. Anyway, got a tip later, like I told you, and on where it was located, or where they thought it was located. And so I went over there for a look, and sure enough, with enough looking, I found it abandoned on the side of the road, essentially. So, lucky to find it. Got it winched out of that ditch. It was a very, very steep ditch, and there was no way. Well, I mean, this thing might have made it out, but for reasons that we found out later, it probably wouldn't have. Those reasons being, the whole fuel system on this was sabotaged. You can probably see that these, I don't know if it's focusing for you. You can see these marks here on it. That's where it was thrown down the ravine. It actually flipped over, I'm pretty sure, a couple times. You might notice I don't have any more, I don't have my mirror anymore. That's because it was broken, assuming it was broken by a branch or something on the way down the ravine. It flipped over at least once, obviously, but potentially more times. But magically, the only thing that was really broken was that mirror. And they put something in the fuel. I think it was like, it could have been brake fluid, it could have been like cooking oil or something. Because when I got it back to where I usually keep it, started it up, it ran for a little while, ran out the stuff that was the fuel that was in the line, and then started taking on this gunk that they had put in there, and it did not want to accelerate it, and it had trouble idling, and it was a mess. So I drug it back to where I normally keep it, being towed. I had to tow it back there, and then I'd been working on it up till this point, so I really hadn't had a chance, other than just troubleshooting the fuel system, to show you anything new with it. But this is kind of new in and of itself, so I figured I'd make a little video updating the status of it. And it's still kind of crazy to me, A, that it was stolen in the first place, and B, that I got it back. It's just so cool. As far as the guys who did it, they know who they are, apparently. The police have been investigating it, and I think one guy may already be in jail. It doesn't matter, pretty much, but I believe that justice is being served. And there were two people who were, I think there was a third. That's another story. Anyway, I keep pointing at these, and these are kind of the newest part of the carts. You may remember the old seats that I had all covered up and stuff. Well, this is them, but this is reupholstered. So I got them both reupholstered. It was not cheap. It was like $1,000. $500 each. It was ridiculous. But I mean, they are, oh my gosh, they are just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. if you live in the Austin area, do not hesitate to go to Nobbins Customs. That's where I got these done at. He's a really honest dude, works out of his garage in the middle of Austin, and does amazing work. Absolutely amazing work. Did everything I had hoped that he would do and more. Not cheap, obviously, but does completely worth it. These are waterproof marine vinyl, and they look just like the original material pretty much, except they're much more heavy duty, waterproof, as I said, and they are not going to have problems with sun bleaching, and obviously not have any problems with the wood backing, rotting, or anything, because they are sealed up tight and they are done well. Everything on here is marine grade. I'm hoping that I will never have to replace these seats again, and they will always look just about as good as they do now. And cannot recommend that guy enough. Doug Nobin, he's great. He's absolutely amazing. If you need any upholstery work done, if you need chairs, if you need car seats, if you need car interior, he's done some incredible projects. You can look him up. He's great. And I might put a link to him down in the description just in case anybody's looking for that, or just wondering what kind of work he does. Because honestly, even if you're not looking for any upholstery work, he does some amazing stuff. Just amazing stuff. I've sat there and looked at his work for a long time and gone, man, that guy did that? That's crazy. And he pulled it off, and he made it look so good. When I actually came for an estimate, he was working on it like a 1941 Chevy Coupe. And that thing was sweet. I mean, people are entrusting him with some classic and very expensive cars and builds, and he knows his stuff. And I think it's worth every penny. I am not disappointed at all. I'm very, very happy with what I got for my money. His attention to detail is perfect. Perfect. Sure, you can get him done close, almost as good for a little bit cheaper. It's not worth it. I'm going to tell you, everything down to repainting some of the metal black, everything. Ignore the hardware that I didn't give to him to repaint. But incredible stuff. Or not repaint the hardware, but didn't have him replace it or anything. That's just me. And they came back fully functional and perfect. Now I need to get a few spots of touch up on this cart as far as the paint goes to kind of match the perfectness of those seats. That's how good they are. My paint job is second rate for sure. That's pretty much the only thing that I think has changed on the cart since my last video. Unfortunately, because for some time I did not even have this cart. When I got it back, it wasn't mechanically sound like it was in the last video. So I had to get that fixed, which was a pain in the butt. I actually had to swap back to, you can't even see it in there. See my carburetor peeking around. I had to get it swapped back to the original carburetor there. That's what that is. And it does not have the upgraded jets, and it's not quite as peppy when you step on the pedal. You can feel a bit of a difference. And actually, in switching back to this one, kind of comparing the way that it drives with both, I have to say that I think that the other one gives me dang near to an additional horsepower. I feel like it's very close to that. It's very noticeable, especially when you're in mid-slide. The old one would kind of bog down in the corners, I noticed. When you're sliding and you're spinning your wheels, it doesn't have the power to keep them spinning. This one even more so. It's even more noticeable that it's bogging down. I don't know about twice as much, but definitely a bit more in the corners. So just another piece of information. If anybody has one of these and is thinking about upgrading a carburetor, it's definitely worth it. Definitely go with the performance carb from Go Power Sports. That's where I got mine. With the upgraded jets, I think it's way better. It's quite the difference, and I think it's a great start to your project. You can start with that mod and then move on to other stuff. Like I said in the last video, I need to put a tack. I need to put a speedometer. Well, I can't speak. I had one drink, but I promised myself I'd do this video before I got into my second. So that wouldn't happen, but it's still happening. I'm sorry. I need to put a tack in here. I need to put a speedometer in here. I need a new mirror. I was thinking about going with a rally mirror now, since that's all screwed up. And I can mount right there to this bar. I think it'll look great. But long story short, that's why the cart is now in my garage, no longer up on that land. And I don't know. I'm just going to be tinkering with it off and on. Maybe not quite as often. Maybe more often, because I mean, it's literally in my house. But something funny about me, I don't know if it's about if other people have this problem with their projects, but when your project's right in front of you every day, it just blends into the backdrop and you don't work on it as much. But when you're like, oh, my project's sitting up there, I wonder how it's doing, I better go check on it a bit, and then you want to do something, and then, I don't know, that's just how I operate. How about you guys? Paint job's holding up pretty good for the most part, other than that tumble down that ravine. It's fading a little bit in the front. I got to touch that up. A couple other spots. I actually found some primer still showing through. I forget where it was. But I was like, are you kidding me? There's still a spot or two that I missed with the primer. I don't remember where it is, but it's on here. But everything else about the cart miraculously is okay. The fuel system was screwed. I had to flush the fuel system 3 times. I believe it was 3 times. I had to swap the carb twice. I soaked the carb for like 2 days in this stuff. Berryman's carb chem dip. Yeah, chem dip. That's what I used. It worked fine. Worked good. And the upgraded carb is actually still in there, soaking, because it did not do well yesterday or today. I tested it today again. Did not do well, so it needs some more time to soak, I guess. And I'll give it that time, and then I'll put it back on here, and hopefully it will work. What else? Spark plug was fouled. Had to replace that. I don't know what the hell they put in there, but it fouled the spark plug. But honestly, that was pretty much the only damage, surprisingly enough. I did figure out, not figure out, but I finally got around to actually putting some grease in these Zerk fittings. So these A-arms, or at least the top ones, are nice and lubricated. The ones on the bottom here, very difficult to get to with my grease gun. Not fun. But I'll get to them eventually. And there's also Zerk fittings on right there. I think you can see that. Where is it? There it is. Oh, it's so bright. Oh no. There. Yeah. There's one on top of that little strut, whatever we'll call it. And one on the bottom. So 4 in the back. There's 2 on the bottom on each side of here. And then there's 1 on the top for the A-arm there. So the 2 on the bottom I cannot get to. And actually one of the Zerk fittings on the passenger side there, on the bottom, is completely missing. So that's not good. I'll see if I can fix that and find a way. I think I just need to compress the suspension as far as I can, and that'll allow me access, or get a different attachment to the tip of the grease gun, like a 90-degree angle kind of thing. And I think that'll work. Battery's still strong. CDI is still working. I haven't put the performance one in like I said I was going to do, again because of the delays I've mentioned, and have not swapped the, sorry, sometimes I lose it with this camera. I have not swapped the air box out yet for a cold air style intake, but I will at some point. It may take me a while though. I don't know how much more content I'm going to have on this for a while. We'll see. I'm just busy right now, and I'm honestly just happy to have it back, and I'm happy to have it in my garage, safe and sound. And I don't know how much time I'll actually have to ride it either. Maybe. There's nothing else to really tell right now. It's kind of it for the video, I guess. That was a little update. Crazy stuff. Don't ever neglect to, secure your stuff if it's not with you. Even if it is. Secure your stuff. People are crazy. Sometimes there's no reasoning to their actions. And I found that out the hard way, and I'm lucky that I'm not down a go-kart because of it. I'm glad I got it back, and I'm glad I got it fixed. Hopefully that car will come back to life, and then it'll be back to its old self, and I'll touch it up and try and keep you in the loop about it. But of course I have my other series. It's kind of being dominant right now. I have many updates, or not updates, many episodes to edit and release for you. So I think that'll be my predominant focus going forward for a while. But we will see. Anyway, thanks for watching.